big interview with the Pakistani High Commissioner, Abdul Basit, that you will see. And here, at the top of 9 o'clock, it's 40 minutes of the Pakistani envoy being put on the dock and not being allowed to dodge and duck as many people from Pakistan tend to do on crucial issues, from Hafiz Saeed to terrorism to Kashmir, and of course, cornering India's enemies. Over the next 30 minutes, we take a bit, a parcel, a snippet of that and break it down threadbare. Amid the interview, Abdul Basit has come out and told this channel, and through this channel the people of India, that there is no stir, no trouble, no seen the bugle for Balochistan that was raised by the Indian Prime Minister at the last Independence Day speech. Now this man says it's all a lie. Listen in to Abdul Basit and then we open up this conversation.
Pakistan is too big a country to be isolated, Geeta. We have recently seen the ECO summit taking place in Pakistan, where all leaders were there. So Pakistan has very, we have a standing in the international community. And Pakistan cannot be isolated.
How would you explain and justify the cancellation of SAARC? That all the countries came together supporting India's stand?
I think that was very unfortunate.
All right, let's open up this conversation. In the studio with me, Colonel Girish Mendiratta is with us here. Professor Madhav Nalapad, the editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, joining us. Hina Shafi Bhatt, representing the BJP tonight. Sultan Hali is joining us via Skype from Pakistan. I'm also expecting Pramit Pal Chaudhary to join us in just a bit, as well as Hamal Haider, a Baloch activist. Let me start with you, Colonel Mendiratta, if I can. You heard this individual, Abdul Basit, the Pakistani High Commissioner, come out and try to make a sales pitch that Pakistan is not isolated. We know what happened with the SAARC summit, sir. It took one India to pull out for the realization in the entire South Asia that Pakistan had to be cornered out on terror. This is a spinning factory that has been put up.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, its isolation in SAARC was there for everyone to see. And now today, if he starts denying these things that, no, we are not isolated, I don't think he's giving anything which is substantial. I fully agree to the point that Pakistan today stands totally isolated as far as the issue of terrorism is concerned. I think people are seeing through Pakistan, whether it is its support for terrorism in Afghanistan, whether it is support for terrorism in our country. I think if you go to the history, you'll find that out of the 98 terrorist organizations worldwide, 28 of them, the biggest ones are in Pakistan. So Pakistan is a terror factory by itself, and it is playing merry hell both in India as well as in Afghanistan. And Afghanistan, I can agree that he has a very strategic necessity to do that, because he wants to buy strategic depth in case of anything happening on his eastern borders.
But what is strategic depth? It's almost simply, Colonel Mendiratta, relying on China. And let me, in all fairness, try to rope in Sultan Hali to have a fair conversation. Sultan Hali, if you just look at the facts, sir, the United States is cutting its funding to Pakistan. Bangladesh has taken an open position that terror hitting its own soil is emanating from Pakistan. Afghanistan has taken its own position, exactly that anti-Afghan forces are operating from across the border in Pakistan. How is it that there is no realization still from where you are, sir, on this isolation?
Well, I think the realization has to come not to us, but to you. We are not isolated. And I think Abdul Basit said it very clearly. The recent ECO summit was ample evidence of that. Yes, you got away by getting the SAARC summit to be pulled out because all these other countries you just mentioned, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, they happen to take the cue from you. So if they followed you, fine. But that does not mean we are isolated. We've now been confirmed members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We are meeting Russia and China to resolve the issues in Afghanistan so that peace returns over there. How do you say that we are isolated?
No, you're backing on China, sir. But the very fact you say you got away with the end to the SAARC summit, Madhav Nalapa, India wasn't getting away with anything. It's a realization from other countries that they need to step up to the plate and call Pakistan out.
Well, yeah, so far as SAARC is concerned, there's no doubt that both Bangladesh as well as Afghanistan reacted substantially to what is going on in their own countries, and there are links to players in Pakistan in both these countries as in India. But I must tell you that Pakistan has one very important ally, and that is China. And China says it's an all-weather ally. Now, take for example this China-Pakistan economic corridor. You have Britain, you have Russia, you have Iran, all kinds of countries saying that we want to join the corridor. So the reality of the situation is that we cannot say Pakistan is isolated till such time as this all-weather relationship, so to speak, between China and Pakistan, in which China gives a free pass to whatever Pakistan is doing. I mean, until that relationship is in some way diluted by facts on the ground, I think it's going to be difficult to say that Pakistan has been isolated.
Okay, Hamal, either this CPEC is going to run through Balochistan. Abdul Basit, in the course of the interview, has also told us there is no uprising in Balochistan, that he sees nothing. That these are all false reports coming and being reported in Pakistani publications, not just here in India. What do you make of that?
I think these are just lies and the state propaganda that in Balochistan there is no insurgency or the military operations are not going on. So this is I believe Pakistan is trying to propagate in the world that Baloch people are resisting, and CPEC projects and things are going smoothly, and there's no resistance from the people of Balochistan. That's not true. The people are resisting against China-Pakistan economic corridor. And Baloch people believe that this is not an economic corridor, but it's an exploitation corridor, China-Pakistan exploitation corridor. And Baloch people are not happy with it, neither they are happy being with Pakistan. So there's a insurgency going on, and people are fighting and sacrificing their lives for the freedom of Balochistan.
Okay, so Sultan Ali, how long do we continue the denial, sir? And for how long does a country, once proud country, hide behind the skirts of China, sir?
That's not true.
So we don't need to hide behind the skirts of anyone, let me tell you. We are a sovereign country, and China-Pakistan economic corridor is a reality. You may wish it away. Your Prime Minister said in his Independence Day speech that he acknowledges the thanks of the Baloch people. I would like to see which Baloch people is he thanking about. I have personally visited Gwadar, I've visited Ormara, I've been through all this, and I've noticed that the China-Pakistan economic corridor is a reality. It is taking shape. I will not deny that there are not problems. There are problems. There are insurgencies, but these are created by you. We have on evidence the confession of Commander Kulbhushan Yadav, who said that he was sent there as a raw agent to sabotage this.
And yet your own man Sartaj Aziz says there is no evidence, sir. Where is this evidence? We haven't seen it. You won't buy the evidence of Hafiz Saeed, Ms. Sultan Ali. That's a very tightrope to walk, and I won't get into that with you. Pramit Pal Chaudhary, on the very specifics of a claim that has been made by Abdul Basit in this interview to Geeta, that there is no isolation. They are confident that the support that China brings supersedes all. How far can that confidence be pushed, Pramit Pal Chaudhary? Okay, I've just lost that line with Pramit Pal Chaudhary. Colonel Mendrita, why don't you take that thought?
Yeah, I don't know whether this is what he's saying, that he can buy the support of China. I really don't think that's a very valid argument. But what I would definitely like to emphasize here is that today Pakistan stands isolated. There's no doubt in it. Whatever it may say, his position is on very weak ground. If you hear, I mean, yesterday there was or day before yesterday, when there was a talk about the UN ambassador, Miss Hali, when she was talking about that, yes, we can intervene and we can have talks, we can support the talks between India and Pakistan, the rebuff which was sent by us was very clear, that we don't want anything to happen in this field. We are independent, and these talks have to be in a bilateral nature.
Okay, let me get Pramit Pal Chaudhary into Pramit Pal Chaudhary. Till how far can Pakistan push the cozy deal it has right now with China in pretending that there is no force of the world against it when it comes to terrorism?
Well, it's now been, while Pakistan argues that it is not isolated, that's to some degree true. But the fact is that Pakistan right now, two of its key allies in the past, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, for example, are now looking towards India. We have seen Abu Dhabi royal family agree that Dawood Ibrahim should no longer have safe haven in Dubai. And we have seen Saudi Arabia now cooperate very openly with India. For example, in the attack, the Uri attack, a lot of the intelligence regarding who had carried out the attack was provided to us by Riyadh. So China is really, as you said, the only thing that they really have left as of geopolitical of any consequence, and it's a big player. I mean, China is the second most powerful nation in the world. But let's keep in mind that when India talks to the Chinese are very clear that one of the reasons why they're providing so much assistance to Pakistan is because they are scared of Pakistan's instability. In other words, they do not see Pakistan as something that is necessarily useful, or it is useful, but Pakistan is necessarily an asset to them. Pakistan is a problem that they wish to solve by pumping in money and arms. And when I have visited China a number of times, they have been very concerned about the threat of terrorism from Pakistan spilling over into China. They see Pakistan as a threat. This is not the basis of a great friendship. This is the basis of Pakistan being seen almost as a liability that has to be handled.
Okay, let me try to rope in Hina Shafi Bhatt. Sultan Ali from Pakistan, Abdul Basit, the Pakistani envoy, says that there is no isolation. They feel nothing. What would you like to say back to them, man? Hina Shafi Bhatt, if you can hear me, man. All right, I'm presuming not. We're going to get that audio connection sorted out. Professor Madhav Nalapat, then it boils down to the point you began with, that this is just about China. What is it going to take, sir, for the Chinese to give up on a very large investment that they're making? They're not going to stop that investment anytime soon, not just because India wishes it. And like it or not, that gives Pakistan leverage. They had it with the United States needing them. Now they have it with China needing them. So be it. That's what they've got, and they're making the most of it.
Well, the fact of the matter is that Pakistan has not been able to contain India, definitely not. You have seen now, whether it's Nepal, whether it's Bangladesh, whether it's Sri Lanka, whether all these countries are now much friendlier to India than they are to Pakistan. So the isolation of India, which I think some people wanted, has failed. The point that is frankly there with the card India has got is our $50 billion trade deficit with China. And this is a card that we just do not want to play for some reason. The fact of the matter is that this is a very important reason why the Chinese should be much more friendly to us, much more accommodative of our concerns, certainly in the NSG, than they have been. They are gaining $50 billion of profit from us every month. So I think this is the single largest issue why China should not take sides with Pakistan in the subcontinent.
Okay, how do we wish it away? Pramit Pal Chaudhary, on the reality, there's no point debating with Pakistan whether terror emanates from it. There's no point debating after a point of time Hafiz Saeed, because the denial continues. But on the practicalities, Pramit Pal Chaudhary, of actually bringing pressure to bear, so action takes place. We've seen what the Americans have managed to do, at least get Hafiz Saeed put into house arrest. How much more will be required?
See, the game will have to be, when you're looking particularly in terms of pressuring China. Chinese are hardcore players of Realpolitik. They understand very clearly cost benefit. So for them, ultimately, you have to explain to them that, one, as we did with the Americans, and this I think is a very important analogy to have, that one, your attempts to stabilize Pakistan and normalize its economy and try to ensure that the terrorism threat from Pakistan to China is reduced will not work, because it's not about the money and it's not about the economy. It is about the very nature of the Pakistani establishment and the fact that that establishment is in direct cahoots with the terrorist network that you are trying to fight. So as we did with the Americans, we have to tell the Chinese that ultimately, if you want to stop the terrorism problem from Pakistan, you have got to stop thinking, you've got to actually stop supporting that Pakistani establishment.
Okay,
and
all right.
change
So
it,
let me, if I can rope in Sultan Ali back into
within.
this.
And I would argue that that's a long, hard sell, but it's something that's going to take a while, but you have to keep hammering.
Okay, you have to
away
keep
with
hammering
this,
home. We did it with the
the
Americans.
Chinese.
Sultan Ali, let me get you back in, sir. What will it take, Sultan Ali, to move away from a paradigm on terrorism, to move away from a state sponsor of this and actually work with what the Chinese are hoping for, is pump in money into the Pakistan economy and work for the Pakistani people, sir?
First of all, let's get our facts clear. Pakistan, the state of Pakistan, does not sponsor terrorism. It is a victim of terrorism. And this terrorism emanates, yes, on its soil, because Pakistan was made a playground during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And we are paying heavily for it. We have paid through 70,000 precious lives. And we would love to see terrorism go away from this country.
So why not
and
do it?
Also, we would also like to...
So why not do
What
it,
do
sir?
you
Why
mean?
not
Why not do it?
lock up,
What are we
lock
doing?
up Masood Azhar? Why not lock up the son of Hafiz Saeed after we locked up the father, his brother-in-law? Why not do it, sir?
They are not the agents of terrorism. The agents of terrorism lie on your side of the border, sir. You are the ones who are sending or sponsoring
Okay.
terrorists
All right.
and trying to destabilize Pakistan.
I keep trying to have a conversation, Colonel Mendira.
Despite irrefutable evidence having been given to you, sir, it has been, and there has been no action for your side. There was irrefutable evidence both after the 26/11, which was given to you, thereafter after the Uri attack, after the Pathankot attack, irrefutable evidence of action from your end has been given to you, but no action has been taken by you. These are all lip service actions that you have put Hafiz Saeed under house arrest, but his son keeps making speeches all over the country. Now please tell me, sir, what action have you taken, despite the evidence being available to you?
And the terrorists got alive. You answer that, Sultan Ali, then I want to open Hina Shafi, but she got disconnected. I want to get her back into the conversation. Mr. Hali.
Okay, very simply, sir, after the Pathankot attack, we sent our team over and we discovered that unfortunately this was a false flag operation. So how do you expect us to react?
I
to
see,
evidence,
Sultan Ali. You
which
know,
was
how
not
long,
to
sir? With a little bit, sir, with just a little bit, and we keep hoping for that, just a little bit of pragmatism. If we could approach this, we could do a lot of great service for our country, sir. Hina Shafi, but let me ask you the question. Abdul Basit has told us Pakistan is not isolated. There is no dissent in Gilgit-Baltistan, let alone Balochistan. And he also comes out and says that as far as terrorism is concerned, there is still no proof. What do you say to him, ma'am?
Now I'm really used to such kind of statements from Pakistani ambassador or any officials. It's nothing new. But if we really see and go into the history, there is nothing new that how Pakistan or Pakistani government or Pakistani people behave with their neighboring countries or their relationships with the name any of the country. The best example is India, our own country. Then with the Saudis, the Saudi Arabia, with the rest of the countries. So I think like these statements won't make a difference globally. Everybody globally knows how Pakistan has been behaving and still is being behaving, and I think they have taken a pledge not to improve.
Okay, so how do we get honest admissions? And I'm running short of time, and I want to rope in the last few minutes that we have on this. Madhav Nalapat, how do we get honest admissions out of Pakistan? Is it wishing for unicorns, sir?
Well, you're not going to get that so long as the Pakistan army is in control of much of the civilian establishment of Pakistan, and the Pakistan army is very much involved in this, non-conventional war against India. I think the army should realize by now that you're not going to succeed in this non-conventional war, that the lines that have been drawn, the frontiers that have been drawn by blood should remain the way they are, and more blood should not be expended in changing them. Now, unfortunately, the army in Pakistan seems to be far away from that realization, and therefore, I'm not very hopeful that you're going to get any kind of a satisfactory answer from this. And again, I'd like to say,
yeah, go ahead, sir.
We can talk to Nawaz Sharif, we can talk to civil establishment, but it's absolutely no use.
Okay, it's of no use. Colonel Mendiratha, eventually he's doing his job there. Abdul Basit, he's supposed to stick to a line, he's sticking to it. But what's it going to take for someone to be with pragmatism and say, yeah, okay, this is the problem and this is how we need to fix it and we need your help? Is that ever going to happen? How many generations before it happens, sir?
As a matter of fact, if you go to the history, last 30 years there has been a problem happening in Kashmir, and we know that there is a problem, and this problem has been nurtured, has been fed by Pakistan. Pakistan should realize that they cannot do anything in Kashmir. They have been trying hard, they cannot do anything in Kashmir. And I think the core issue which they keep repeating again and again is the Kashmir problem. But let's be very clear about that. The Kashmir is an integral part of our country. So that problem, we must be very clear that problem is not their problem. That's our problem, and internally we'll be able to resolve it.
Terrorism. Pramit Pal Chaudhary,
our problem is terrorism.
Okay, Pramit Pal Chaudhary, how long do we keep wishing and hoping that somebody in Pakistan sees the light of epiphany and goes on to do something about everything that the world says that they're up to?
Well, I think we actually did see that for a momentary period of a few years under President Musharraf. At the last few years of his rule, he actually began through the back channel to try to come to an agreement with India, in which where he basically agreed that, look, my use of terrorism against you is not working, but I need to get something from you. It may not be a territorial agreement, but some sort of concession from you in Kashmir in return for me rolling back the terrorism. And we actually were able to outline. We know that there was an outline of an agreement between the two sides. But at the heart of it was, why did Musharraf change? He changed because there was an environment that he concluded made it clear that Pakistan could never hope to win. One was India undergoing massive economic growth rates on double digits. You saw the Americans take out the Taliban regime. You saw Pakistan looking very isolated globally, and the Pakistan economy going nowhere while India's was growing way. Okay. All of these came together in Musharraf's mind, and he made him change his perspective. I mean, he came to power as an inimical enemy of India. We have to sit if we can get the same sort of circumstances one more time.
Okay.
But those are a set of chess moves that will take a long time to
Okay, so a set of chess moves have to be drawn up on a board. The bottom line is this. We have put the questions once again to the man who represents the state of Pakistan in this country, a man who's become infamous in this country for inviting separatists for biryani and laughing about the fact that terror attacks happen in India. We've asked him the questions, we've got the ducks and the denials, but amidst that, some grains of truth have also come out. The full interview airs at 9 o'clock tonight. We are building up on the other side into yet another aspect of this. What is happening in Gilgit-Baltistan and Balochistan, the visuals of protest that you see and what that means. My guest here